Hey up. How we
How's everyone
doing?
doing? I'm good. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking the you know what I was gonna do then, which would have been really silly. I was gonna tip the cup so you could see the words on the end, which
Oh yeah.
I'd have just scolded myself. But on the bottom it does say bird and blend because that's the cup, but it's
Oh, okay.
it's the buttermint. Do you have a bird and blend up where you are in Glasgow?
No, I don't. Well, not that I'm aware of. I've not heard of it.
Oh, they're really, really good teas, and I know somebody who worked in our uh, Nottingham site, and yeah, just I've got loads of different flavors now, but the
Nice.
buttermint is so good. What you got?
I've just got see fancy teas are lost on me. I just drink like builder's
Builders.
tea. Yeah. So I've got decaf just now, just so that I'm not up all night. But yeah, I've just normal tea for me.
They do a British Builders tea. I think it's called British Builders, and then there's like the
Right.
Great British Cuppa, and that's really
Right.
nice as
Okay.
well. But I'm a
Right.
huge. That's a large whiskey, Simon, says David. Does look like whiskey, doesn't it? Nice whiskey and
Right.
ginger.
Yeah.
If
It
only,
looks
not on a
nice,
spoon.
but
Tastes lovely. Really, really
yeah.
nice. I think you probably missed the buttermint craze of like 2017.
Right, yeah. I don't think I was
It was a
here for that.
huge thing in Tube. Everybody's trying to get buttermint, and then every time you went into the stores, was not because of Tube, but it was just like a craze, and nobody could get it anywhere, and people were like trading for buttermint tea.
That's so random of all the things.
I know, I know. So, shall we do hellos?
Yeah, let's.
Actually, let's do it in the one on there because that'll be everybody, won't it? So Petra was the first one in. Lovely to see you, Petra. And then Robin. Hi, Robin. We've got Donna, the lovely
Hi,
Naomi. Hi,
hey
Naomi.
Naomi.
Saskia, David, Sarah. We've got Marilyn and Golden. Hi, Golden. Uh, we've got Dustin. Hi, Dustin.
Hey Dustin.
Suzanne and Greet von Moldigem. Moldigem? Gem? Nice to see you anyway. Lovely. So Niels, nice to see you. We've got Lily Rose and buttermint tea, says Justin. Do you remember the buttermint tea craze? You was around then. Donna, yeah, and that's everybody that I can see anyway. So welcome everyone. I'm really looking forward to the next hour and a bit or however long we're on for. Any excuse to talk about one JJ Swiss. I do
Nothing
remember
out
that
about one
phrase.
JJ.
Yeah, he says he does remember.
That's funny.
And
It's just
then
really funny that of all the things that tarot troopers could get into, it would be buttermint tea.
yeah, it's a taste sensation though. So when I heard that Bird and Blend had got their version of it, it looks amazing in the canister as well because it's got all chunky bits in it, and it's so
Hmm.
nice. Malamy is here, and Cheryl is here as
Malamia,
well.
Cheryl. Oh, she says, hi everyone. My TV has been stuck on the thumbnail for 5 minutes. I was cursing you both for not starting in time.
We're here. I think we were actually a couple of minutes. We were gassing, weren't we? I think we were a little bit.
Yeah, but that does happen because that happened to me when Deanne was live on Sunday, I think it was. I was sitting looking at the thumbnail and then I looked down at my phone at the chat and realised that like Deanne was there. Everyone
Yeah,
was like, "Hey Deanne, hey Deanne." So it's
yeah.
like,
It's easy
yeah.
done.
Hmm.
I've been there in the past. I thought it kind of corrected itself now, but it's obviously still doing it.
Yeah. True. Um, right. Shall we kick off now? Simon, you're going to keep me right with some of this information here, aren't you? Because and everyone in the chat can keep me right too. Because we're talking. This is where I would normally talk about the information on the deck, and the information on the 1JJ is not easy to come by. Like there's conflicting information depending on where you look. So the versions that we're looking at is the one that was made popular by Stuart Kaplan, produced by US Games, or rather, sorry, I think the correct way around is produced by AJ Mueller and distributed by
Distributed.
US Games. And I think that all kicked off in 1970. But this is essentially a re-release of a Swiss tarot that was created in the 1800s. Besançon, which is a kind of Marseille. Marseille Karens, please don't jump down my throat for saying that the 1JJ is a kind of Marseille.
Yeah. And we had a conversation, didn't we, when I did my kind of all about 1JJ Swiss and talked about kind of the lineage and Besançon. This is not a Besançon in the sense of the JJ element. Do you know what I mean? I know it's not a true kind of, but yeah, there are people out there that are quite particular, shall we say.
I thought it specifically was a Besançon. I thought that's what a Besançon was.
Well, I was. I think I left the comment up as well, so it's probably still on there. But yeah, I was corrected and told that it's not a Besançon. But
Oh, well, if you're wanting a wee bit of tarot tube scandal, then go
well, it's
seek that
clearly
out.
based on a Besançon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can I just before we move on as well, because someone's just asked me what the Earl Grey creme is like, and it's probably my favorite Earl Grey tea ever. So I just wanted to say that if you are thinking of getting it, get it because it's beautiful. That's the tea chat.
What did you say? Oh, more tea.
He was like, what do you say?
Yeah. Robin said something there, Simon. He's eager to hear about your early experience with this deck. Did you only use the majors when you first got it?
Yeah, so that was 1987. Was that the year you were born? It was, wasn't it? As soon as I
No,
said
it's
that.
before I was born. I was born in 88.
Right.
November of 88. So I was way before I was born.
There's somebody in our community, when I talked about my first tarot deck in 1987, they was like, that was the year I was born. Yeah, so my first ever deck was this deck. It was actually this version of the deck. And yeah, it was 1987. I just, as soon as I was working at a theme park, somebody was using the cards to do readings, and I had a reading, and I was like, I've got to get a set. And she went and got me a set, which was that one. But it was, and David, who's in chat, put in a comment last night saying he was looking forward to tonight, and he can already hear the Tales the Unexpected theme tune playing in his mind, because there was a program called Tales the Unexpected, which was a bit like The Outer Limits if you're in America, or Twilight Zone. There was a twist in the tale, and they were by Roald Dahl initially. And the opening credits, there was like flames and these women doing this kind of dancing, but there was a carousel going around of tarot cards, and they were the 1JJ Swiss, the majors. So things like the Death card and the Devil card was really iconic images anyway. And so when I was having this reading, I was like, oh, I've seen all these, so for me, because that was my first deck, I thought that's what the tarot was, just that deck. I had no idea. But then the year later, I started flat sharing with my friend Jen. We're still friends now. And she'd got a Rider-Waite-Smith. So I saw the Rider-Waite-Smith, and I had the Rider-Waite-Smith in my home from 1988, which was the year after, but I didn't get my own copy of the Rider-Waite-Smith until 2008, which was, what, 16 years ago.
That's funny. I've been working with the Rider-Waite-Smith for longer than about 10 years more than you. Isn't that weird to think about?
Yeah. Yeah. Dustin's cleared it up a little bit here. He said 1JJ Swiss is absolutely a Besselson style deck. It's not in the traditional sense of being made in that city, but it follows what makes that type of deck unique. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Then he says, but it more closely follows a type popularized in Switzerland in the mid 1800s, but it's really just semantics.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. So Simon just showed you one of the first one that he got, and that's the colors, the filter just changed or something. That is what I've got, and this is the only version of it that I've got. So believe it or not, I've not had this for very long, like comparatively. So it's this kind of a drawer type box. You get the slide in and out. The actual cards themselves come in a two-part kind of a box like this. And this is kind of one of the older versions that's got the gold base to it.
Mine doesn't
Right,
in this version.
Okay. See if you look at see this book, Simon, see if you open it up at, so not the kind of inside of the cover, but the first page in.
There's one of these as well in there.
Yeah, so I've got that inside the two-part box, but in the bigger book, if you open it up to that first page, I think you'll be able to see
1976 is the last.
Right, mine's is 1980. So yours is older than mine.
Yeah. But so just to explain as well, because I said I got this in 1987, I don't know what happened to my copy of that. This is one that Sandra gifted to me a couple of years ago. And so she says, I know you've got 1JJ Swiss, but do you want this version? And I was like, yes, please, because that was my first ever version. So copyright is 1970. That's when, and that blurb I sent you earlier when Stuart Kaplan started, because he went to a fair and he saw it and worked with AGM Reeler to distribute it. But originally, so yours was a gold bottom one, wasn't it? You just showed. Does it say tarot cards on it, or does it say 1JJ Swiss? Yeah, so it looks like later on they replicated the original, because this is the 1970 version, which I managed to get on eBay a few years ago. And what's gorgeous about this is, you know, like the 1971 Blushing Fool, that lovely papery cardstock. This has that, which is just amazing.
So I think I don't have a Blushing Fool, but I've got the blue box non-Blushing Fool. Is the cardstock the same?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I would say they're pretty much the same.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's got that lovely papery, nice, without lamination feel to it. I don't use, well, I say I don't use it. I had to put them all in order tonight, so I have used it. But this one, I was searching, I've told you about alarms going off and all sorts and why I was rushing around tonight. I couldn't find this version anywhere. And I went all through these shelves again. I went all through the ones in the back room, and I was like, where will it be? Then I realized I've got a box with all my vintage decks in, like the 1960s Albano Waite, the JK Waite, the university books, all those old 60s, and it was in with that. And I was like, oh, why didn't I think of that? So there's that version, which was the 1970 version. So mine is 1976, but then yours is later 1980, and they've gone back to the two-part two-part
Yeah.
box. So then when I joined this community back in 2016, 2017, I wanted that first deck again because I thought I really want it. So I just went on and I got this version, which then had 1JJ Swiss tarot cards on it. And I believe this one is a 1980s version. Again, I got it on eBay, and I think it was advertised as a 1980s version, but I don't think it actually says on this little fold out. It says copyright 1970, but that's because the copyright was then. And then I've got two other styles, and then we'll start talking about what we think to it. But this one is my go-to use all the while. It's out on my desk. It's in this little Kelly pouch. And this is the one by Conrad Stain. So the larger, because the AGM decks are quite small. This is a full mate playing cards size, but it's vintage. And what I love about this version is the other version, the white is very stark white, isn't it? You know, it does make the colors pop a little bit, but having this version where the images are muted a little bit and having this vintage effect, I really like it. So that's the one I tend to grab for the most. But then Vincent Petici also released a version of the 1JJ Swiss, which comes in this two-part box. Have you seen this one?
I've seen it, yeah. I follow Vincent on YouTube, and I've seen him when he was when he released it, and he did some sample readings with it and stuff. It does look really nice.
Yeah. Again, it's a full size. I edged it in like a vintage gold. And this, the colours in it are really, really lovely. Now, the difference with this one is you've got two alternative cards. So the JJ is because of Juno and Jupiter. So you have Junon, and you've got a High Priestess. But the way he drew it was it's really clever how he's done it. And then because we have Jupiter, he also put in the Hierophant. And it's on linen cardstock. It's really, really nice. But I just thought it was clever how in keeping it was when he added the High Priestess and the Hierophant.
Yeah.
When you were talking about the production, did you mention about the JJ? I can't remember if you did. Why that happened?
No, I didn't. I'll let you. You'll be able to tell it better than I
can. Yeah, so just because of the time, you know, and not to offend the Catholic Church, most decks back then had popes and papesses, however you want to say it. So that's when you had Junon and Jupiter. And that's where 1JJ Swiss comes from. So the 1 is the production number, JJ is because of Junon and Jupiter, and Swiss because the country of origin. So that's how that came about. But and then again, that goes back to the Besançon lineage.
Yeah. I did a wee size comparison there whilst you were speaking. What do you think of the book that comes with this?
All right, but I bought this one.
Okay.
Which again I think was released in 1970. I managed to pick it up secondhand, and this is Fortune Telling with Tarot Cards, Stuart R. Kaplan, an illustrated guide to spreading and interpreting the 1JJ tarot. I haven't done a comparison actually. They might actually be more or less the same information. It's released by Diamond Books, first released in 1978. This is a 1995 version.
Nice.
And it just gives you kind of like the pictures are very aged now because it's 30 years old next year, but you get like the card, and then you get a description, divinatory meaning and reverse meaning. So let's have a look at what you've got your book out, haven't you, for the yellow box?
Yep. So I was going to say, they're the same.
Yeah, looks the same to me.
Right. Okay.
Pretty much. Let's have a look at the spread back. Yeah, even spreads at the back. So it's the same. Right. Oh, I should have saved me money.
Oh well. Yeah, it's strange because when I got this, the first thing I looked at it was to see what it says about Juno and Jupiter, because I was like, well, they're the only two tarot cards that I'd be interested to know if they have a traditional meaning, you know. So it's the description. So Juno describes it well as a stately goddess stands on her bare feet with a tiara on her head, large rod or staff in her left hand. Behind her stands a golden peacock with colourful feathers, etc., etc. Right, so it's describing the card. But then when you go to Jupiter, now, like Simon just held Jupiter up, so you've seen him. This is him here. It says an elderly man wearing a mitre holds in his right hand a rod of doctrine. So that's describing the Hierophant rather than Jupiter. So I thought it was a bit unusual that Juno describes Juno, but Jupiter describes the Hierophant, you know? But I think it's quite hard to judge a tarot book from like the 70s and 80s against some of the books that we get today. Do you know what I mean? And I suppose like next to the other kind of books that we might have gotten at that time, this is actually quite good, you know, quite helpful, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I think you said Robin asked a question at the beginning, and I gave only part of the answer. So yes, when I did first get it, I only read with the majors because I couldn't, as a 16-year-old, I just couldn't fathom the minors or, you know, have the headspace for it. So I just used to pull out the major cards. And I used to use the spreadsheet as well that comes in it. I used to fold it all out. I used to lay it out on my sister's living room floor, and yeah.
Oh, we never showed the spread poster, did we?
You want to do that? You've got more space, I think.
Yeah, I can use the table camera actually. Might be a bit more helpful. So yeah, so it's essentially like the Celtic cross that we see.
Yeah.
Only they've called it the ancient 10-card spread. So yeah, just a kind of and I think it's pretty much sizes with the cards. So
yeah,
the idea is to lay the cards on top. But yeah, it's not too bad.
Do you know what I love as well about this deck? It just catapults you back in time. Like you pulling out that sheet, I feel it just reminds me of being 16 years of age. Because even though, you know, I've only had this a few years since Sandra sent it to me, I've obviously not, you know, unfolded the sheet or anything like that. But and that's what I love about this deck, because the images are, like I said, so iconic from my childhood. that every time I see them, it's just like looking back. It's like it just transports you back. Music can do that as well, can't it? You know, you hear a song and suddenly you're back to
Yeah,
that place and time, and you start to feel the same feelings and emotions that you had back then. And
yeah,
that's what images do for me. When I see something, old Ladybird books, if I see those images, I'm back to being 6 or 7, and yeah, it's powerful like that.
yeah, true. So I've had the deck for about, I had to look back, I've had it for about 3 years. So I have. So that's why I say, like, compared to other decks, I've not had this very long at all.
Yeah,
Um, but it was your first, I guess. So
yeah. So
well, you just told us.
originally had it 37 years ago. Um, and I'd love to know what happened to that original copy, but I moved around a lot when I was younger. I used to like, I think the longest I lived anywhere for about 20 years was like a year. I just moved all the time. And now I've been here 18 years. It's like, don't think I'll ever shift. But I think I just lost it in with one of the moves, or who knows what happened to it.
Yeah,
But yeah, I've had it again since 2016, so 8 years. So what made you buy it? Was it because you saw it as part of like tarot history, or
I think it was a wee bit of that. I think I was going through a wee phase of buying like vintage decks when I saw them on eBay. So it was probably a bit of that. Um, yeah, I think that's really all it was. I didn't buy it with the intention of getting any great amount of use out of it. Interestingly enough, though, it's a great wee reader. Like, I find it really good for like your good old fashioned fortune telling. Like, see if I'm like doing proper, like, I don't know, like I'm saying good old fashioned fortune telling. That's essentially what it is. If I'm in the mood for doing that, then
yeah,
I find this is a great wee deck for that.
yeah.
Um, what you might be, so if this is obviously a deck that takes you back, like what kind of stuff do you use it for?
Um, so firstly, he wasn't born. It's like when Chris was a baby. This was a year before Chris even came into existence.
Yeah, that's true.
I use it for anything. It's very nostalgic, and like I said, the Conrad Stain version, because I know that it doesn't matter how dinged up it gets because it's a vintage looking deck anyway. Um, is the one I tend to grab for, and it's always out on my desk. Um, but yeah, I just love it because it's about nostalgia. It's and when I see the images, uh, some of my favorite cards throughout tarot are in this deck. Do you know
Oh
what I
wow.
mean? When we say, "Oh, I like this one best in the deck." That
Mm.
in this deck, that some of the images I can think of three are my favorite in any deck ever. So and I think
I
that is because
wonder
of
if
my history with it.
yeah, yeah, that's really cool. I wonder if I'll have picked them out as
I think you
my
will.
favourites in the deck. You think so?
Yeah, I
Um,
think you will. How
right.
many of us are older than this deck? Well, I'm old. No, I'm not. Well, yeah. Oh, no, I'm the same age because if it was produced in 1970, that's the year I was born.
There you go.
So I'm the same age as, certainly the same age as this deck. Where it just said tarot cards with the gold base. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm a blushing
it's
fool.
weird owning something that's older than me. I have to say.
Yeah. I
Um,
know it's like my albino weight is older than me.
huh, funny. When was that made?
The one that I got, it was sent. I did a trade with Brant Palazzo, and he said he thought it was a 1966 version.
Right, okay. That's older than my mum.
I am much older than that deck. What year was your mum born?
67.
Oh my gosh, I'm only 3 years younger than your mum.
Yeah, yeah. I think my dad was born in 1960 or 61. So you're a fair
Right,
bit younger than my dad. It
yeah.
makes you
But
feel better.
both my sisters are older than your mum. Because I've got a sister born in 63 and another one born in 65.
Yeah.
What's Robin saying? Lord, that makes me old enough to be Chris's granddaddy. But I prefer to call her granny.
Oh, sorry, Tom. Tom says I'm making everybody feel old. Right, I'll stop.
Oh, I'll take
Um,
that compliment. Thank you. They don't come by often, so I'll take that one.
there you go. You can add that to your email signature.
Yeah.
Somebody gave me a compliment yesterday, and that was what I said. I says I'm going to add that to my email signature. Right, where are we? Yeah, so will we start? I don't actually have that many favourites, to be honest. See, because the minors are all kind of a Marseille style.
Some are
I
really
like,
beautiful, though, aren't they?
yeah, but they're. I mean, I love Marseille, so I love the minors, but I've just not really picked any. So I've just got majors here.
Okay.
So you've probably got a lot more than me. So why don't you start?
I can start. So, the first one I'm going to go with is Jupiter. I just love his poise and his whole kind of. It's just like,
He's had enough, hasn't he?
yeah,
Um,
but you don't see that, do you? Really, for the Pope card or the Hierophant card, but
yeah.
yeah, it's just I just love his expression. Just makes me smile every time I see it.
Yeah, same. I picked this as well, and I do really like that because, like you say, it's not something you would typically associate with the Hierophant, but nor is it something you would typically associate with the god Jupiter, who is essentially Zeus. Um, the god Jupiter he was like the king of the gods, god of like thunder and lightning or whatever you want to call him. Um, he wasn't or it was a bit of a I was going to say a bit of a ladies' man, but in actual fact, I don't think he discriminated when it came to gender. I just think he was he liked a wee bit of everything. So yeah, it's just not the kind of image that you would typically associate with him either. So I do
Mm.
think that it's quite interesting how they've depicted it.
Yeah,
So yeah, um, I've got one before that. I like the Empress or L'Imperatrice purely because she looks so sassy. Um, like the way she's pointing upwards, it's like she's like, read the fucking sign. Do you know what I mean? That's what it looks
yeah.
like. It's like it's as though somebody's asked her a stupid question, and she's just like, read the sign. That's what it makes me think of, and that was that's the only reason I picked it.
It also looks like she's beckoning as well, doesn't it? Almost like how
Mm,
people.
yeah.
I know she's obviously pointing up, but just that sort of finger wag. Come here.
Yep. What have you got
Um,
next?
so I'm going to mention that I have to mention the Hermit. I do like the Hermit card. Proper sort of kind of like a stereotypical monk looking, with the friar tuck kind of do going on, and the ropes tied around his waist, the sandals, everything. But yeah, it's very. Had
Nice.
you got one before that?
No, I don't. My next one was the Wheel of Fortune.
Okay.
Um, I just think it's quite cool how we see the different stages. Particularly we see someone like going flying off the side of the mountain. So it really does depict that, like, you know, some people are on top of the world, some people are, falling off cliffs. It just depends on your turn of the wheel. And we see the goddess Fortuna actually turning the wheel as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's quite a cool
Yeah.
depiction.
And her blindfold. Cheryl, just when you said I need to get the version of this deck, are you talking about the NPC version? Because it's quite easy to get.
Excuse me.
Okay, so one of my um, one of my first three all-time favorite cards is
Yeah.
the Death card.
Right.
I just love it. Again, so iconic, such an iconic image. And like David in chat, every time I see this, Tales Unexpected starts to play. But yeah, I think it's fantastic. I love it. And there's been you how many decks do you think in modern at times now kind of depict death in that position and that stance? Because I think
Just
it's such an iconic image.
yeah. It's, yeah, it's Marseille, isn't it? So yeah, definitely.
The
What have you
new
got next?
version, the
Oh
Devil,
yeah, I've got that.
it's amazing. By far my favorite Devil card. I just love it. It's just so different to any other kind of Devil cards that you see in other tarot decks. The fact that she's sitting there, she's weeping, but look how huge he looks as he towers over her.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's cool. I like it because it's got her sitting there weeping, and we don't usually see that in the devil card. Usually, we see the people that are trapped. They don't really realize that they're trapped. They don't seem in distress. Whereas we really kind of see that with her.
Yeah. And
Um,
he's kind of like an amalgamation. He's got his cloven footed, hoof footed, and his tail, but he's also more human in appearance than like a Baphomet type depiction of the devil.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
But again, every time I see this image, it just takes me back.
Cool.
Next is the tower.
Yeah,
Have
I've
you
got
got
that
the
too.
tower? Isn't it
Yeah,
great?
it is. Yeah.
I mean, they'll
Um,
never fit through that door, so I don't know. Because the tower card always kind of puts the people falling from it. The perspective is never, the scale is never right.
yeah,
And you can see him laying on the floor. If he was to get up, he'd never. I know it's probably more in the foreground, but even so. But I like this tower card. I think it's really clever. It's more.
yeah,
And do you see about the foundations? Because people always say, don't they? Well, the tower card is about the external factor causing the disruption, the destruction. But if you've got a firm foundation, you can build again. And you actually can
yeah,
kind of see the foundation there in the image, which
yeah.
I like.
I
And
think
it's
it
solid.
actually seems really like it looks like staged. It looks like it's literally on a stage. So it does. And it makes it feel quite dramatic, like overly dramatic to me. Do you know what I mean? It kind of gives the tower a new feel. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean. But for me, it's like a solid base. You can see like the terrain in the foreground, which is quite
Mm,
rocky, but they've built on a firm foundation.
yeah,
But I love the way the tower is crumbling in chunks as well as just by bricks. It's quite clever.
yeah, that's nice. Cool. Have you got the next one?
Yeah. Can you guess what it might be as my third like all-time favorite or one of my all-time favorites?
Oh,
Because I
well,
guessed all your courts last time.
um, well, I don't know. I thought, have you not got the star?
Have I got the star? No, it's not.
Aye,
No.
no. So you like faces on moons, and aye, there
Yeah.
you go.
This is such an iconic image again. I know I say that a lot about this deck, but this was the one card that stuck in my mind when, because we're used to seeing on popular TV shows like Tales that Expected the Death and the Devil card, because they always show them, don't they? But when I picked up this deck again after like a 30, almost 30-year absence, when I saw this image, I was like, oh, yes. And it's really interesting how it's split. The image is split into two. And
Yeah,
for the
I was
moon
going to ask
card,
what you thought about that.
yeah, you've got the crustacean at the bottom, but it looks almost like it's ornamental on a wall.
Mm,
Because what if you look at the building, you've got that grey stone and the yellow arches. Do you see?
yeah,
So it's almost like it's zooming in, it's giving you a part of the image, but you can't see it, the crustacean anywhere. But I love this, it's playing that. I don't even know what instrument you'd call that. Is it like a ukulele or something?
mandolin or
But
something.
mandolin. And it's very Romeo and Juliet, isn't it? She's there in the balcony. I do love the face in the moon and sun in this card. But it's just such a, again, unusual moon card, but I really like it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Golden says, I think
Um,
that's my favorite moon card ever. Yeah, it's
oh,
great.
it's a lute, apparently. The
A
instrument.
lute. Okay. It's like Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, absolutely, David.
Yeah, it's quite unusual to associate that with the moon, though, I would have thought.
Yeah, and again, I mean, if you have got a hound of some sort. I think there's only one. There's like a palace in the distance and a mountain range, and you've got the crustacean. But
Yep.
I mean, the moon's the moon, isn't it? Some tarot cards will just give you a moon.
Mm, that's true. I actually had the star, so the one before the moon. Um, I just liked her because she's giving us a wee boob slap.
Judy Finnegan.
Yeah. What was it he said? If we win it again next year, she'll get the other one out as well. That was funny. Um, yeah, no, to be honest, I think that was the only reason I picked this card because it made me chuckle
Because
because
there's
I'm
a
the
bit of
maturity of a 5-year-old.
Judy Finnegan. Um, I do love the sun card. I think it's lovely.
Yeah,
Have you got any more favorites?
those are all the favourites that I picked out. Um, so the floor is yours, sir.
So I was just going to say the judgment card. I really like the judgment card. Um, Again, it's quite traditional in terms of uh, judgment, but it's also quite different. There's not coffins or anything like that, but I quite like it. And then, so you've not picked any minors, you say?
No, I mean I do like the minors. I just hadn't picked any.
Okay,
Um,
I'll just mention a couple then. So, just for the beauty and aesthetic, I love that version of the Two of Cups. I mean, the
oh, my Two
cups,
of Cups is different from yours.
is it?
Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
yes.
you're
Well,
doing the
that's the
vintage one, aren't you?
no. This is the English version, so that will be the same as. I've got a couple of cards. Bear with. Yeah, same as the 1970 version,
Oh, nice.
where it credits Muller.
Excuse me.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I keep yawning, so it's been a busy week.
But I find the cups really beautiful in the 1JG.
Yeah.
And then where are we? Getting
I do
there.
really like the swords. Like I like the swords in any Marseille deck. So I do.
Yeah,
And it always kind of I don't know, it makes me sad when like someone does a Marseille inspired deck, but then the swords don't follow that Marseille pattern.
yeah.
And I know like old decks don't have the curved swords, but I just really like them. I love how
Even
the symbolism of it, like the even number, like you've got like kind of the stalemate of the two, the peace of the four, the harmony of the six, and then that odd sword comes along and cuts right through that. Do you know what I mean? Like so the three is like the cuts through the stalemate. It's the harsh words that cut through that. That are the fifth sword and the five. It cuts through that kind of a peacefulness of the four. With the defeat, I just love it. I think it's really really cool.
Janet Jackson also flashed through my mind, Robin, but I went with the Judy Finnegan reference instead. But I did think about Janet Jackson. I love the Ace of. Well, actually, in the English version, they're calling it Pentacles,
Oh,
rather than coins. But I love the arrangement of like you do with the swords. The swords and the coins for me in Marseille decks are just really pretty, especially if you look at somebody like Roz's deck, New Choice, Tarot de Marseille.
yeah.
Beautiful.
Have you noticed that the coins and this are arranged differently than the coins and your
Yeah,
traditional Marseilles? So the seven is the
yeah,
one that stands out to me. Um,
yeah.
so that's quite different.
Also, to point out, have you noticed the Roman numerals in this deck are different as well? You get four eyes, don't you, rather than
Well,
an
y-
eye before the four, the five, or the
yeah,
where
but
are
then
we?
with
Like,
nine they do IX.
yeah,
Strange, isn't it?
yeah.
There's a
So
comparison.
you're talking about the minors, though, aren't you, for the 9?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that was the nine of coins that I held up.
yeah. But it's strange how they just don't do that with the majors,
Yeah,
like 19. So instead of you know,
yeah, strange.
on XX.
Strange, but in a really good way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fair point, because if you look at, like you said, the 9 of coins or pentacles is here, but the Nine of Cups.
Oh, is it? I just looked at the swords, and that's IX. Oh yeah.
Wonder if the Wands then is.
Right, we need to do a
Uh,
we are proper nerding out here, aren't we?
yeah, but no. So the Wands is IX. So
Oh,
it's just there must be the tradition there somewhere. Probably a bit like the what is it? You know how some ballet cards in the Pentacles has the text the other way.
yeah, yeah, that's right.
The four eyes is the oldest Latin form of the number. Yeah. And was it David who said earlier about the fool with his hand gesture is like giving the rock star
The
type?
metal.
Yeah. Wonder if it will pick that
There's,
up. No, it won't.
there you go. So odd.
Yeah, but quirky. I
Yeah.
can't wait to receive my vintage copy of this deck. I ordered it a few days ago from Etsy.
Oh, nice, Holly.
Which vintage version? As in the 1970 version. Deanne, you can't talk about it if you don't have enough to share with everybody. What is Deanne having?
Don't know. Let's see. Oh, macaroni. I'm making Alfredo macaroni special for Max.
So that's it. We're flown through that one.
I know. I know. It's probably
I
because
think
I
it.
didn't have as many favourites this week.
I think it's because as well with it being a pit deck, then if you go through a fully illustrated deck, then it's easier, isn't it, to say, oh, I like this image because
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
yes,
that's it.
2-piece box, says Holly.
So what are your overall impressions then, Simon?
So Golda says in Italy that hand sign is giving the devil goat horns. So that's what that signifies. What's my overall impressions? Oh, it's a firm favorite. It's a must-have in my tarot collection. It's one that, like I say, it just takes me back. It's a very Six of Cups experience.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I love the versions I've got as well. Like I say, I really like this one. I really am impressed with what Vincent Battisti has done with this, and giving people the option if they struggle with like Junon and Jupiter. What was I going to say? I'm sure as well. I saw somebody say that Vincent Battisti's done another version. So I need to look into what is done next.
Right,
I'm
nice.
sure I saw that. My copy is AGM printed in Belgium from 2019. Yeah. So do you want to tell people about next month?
Sure. But see, before I do that, I've actually got a question. If you'll
Okay.
if you'll humor me. I'm curious as to how you read Juno and Jupiter when you get them.
I just read them in my way that I would translate it back to the High Priestess.
Do you? So you read them the
Yeah.
exact same as if you'd right, okay.
Yeah. Why do you read them differently?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely with Jupiter, just because it doesn't say high priest or it doesn't say high different at all to me, to be honest. I'm a very kind of a pictorial reader. Like I do like kind of I read the images a lot. Um, Watching Chris Ripple shuffle this deck is giving me palpitations. Mine is so old, I'm sure it would disintegrate. Mine is an old version as well. Not to make you feel worse, but yeah, they're actually really good for Ripple shuffling the old decks. Like they hold up well to it.
Early Ritual says, my one JJ Swiss, I think, is the same as your vintage gold box Simon. Still has a price tag of $4.99. Wow. And yeah, I love Patisha's deck. He did a fantastic job. Anyway, so next month.
Sorry, yeah, next month. What deck is it we're doing next month? I can't. We've got a list. We've got a list for the next few, and I can't remember which one was it.
Well, it's Shadowlands. Monica Bodersky's Shadowlands.
What was that you were saying about me having a good memory?
Yeah, well, you generally do. You have a much better memory than me. So yeah, so we've always said that the decks that we would do a throwback on would have to be 3 years or older. So now that we've been doing this, is it a year now we've been doing Throwback Thursday?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's more than a year.
Might be more than a year, yeah. So
Yeah.
by now, the ones that we couldn't consider last year, we can, because they're going to be 3 years or more. I only paid 1 cent more than that for my copy. Wow. So Tom, is Early Ritual Tom then? I'm terrible with names,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
okay.
That is.
I need to remember that, Tom. Okay, cool. So, and that's going to be on June the 6th. So it's our Throwback Thursdays is always the first Thursday of the month.
Yeah.
I find it really distracting just watching you shuffle.
Sorry.
You've gone into the little mini bit, and I'm like, talking to your hand. That's all right.
It's because I actually use this reading wise, so I don't want it sitting in order because it's going to be really annoying having to get it all randomized again. So I'm trying to get a head start.
Midnight Unicorn says, I love Shadowland. I've not had it long, but it is awesome. And Sunny says, I love Shadowland. Such a great guidebook with it too. The guidebook is brilliant. Monica Badersky is brilliant anyway. I'm getting the Awakening Tarot tomorrow ready for review on Saturday. Which reminds me, have you got things coming up?
Yeah, I do. I've got some things planned. As per usual, though, I never know whether it's okay to say or whether it's meant to be a surprise. So there's something with someone in the chat who I can't remember if we said we were just going to say it or not, but uh, maybe see something coming up in the next few days. I'm also planning on having, so I don't know if you remember Marion from Marion K Tarot. She came on with me. It was a good few weeks ago now. It was about a month ago, and we pulled cards. We actually read for each other on the live. Well, I'm going to have Marion on again, but we're also going to be joined by Chris Butler, who's the creator of the Healing Light Tarot and the Quantum Tarot, and the new Oracle of the Hecatean Path. So I'm really excited to have. Yeah. Oh, you've got that.
Yeah, it was Spotlight deck from last month, and I haven't done a full walkthrough yet.
Right. Okay. You need to let me know what you think about it. So yeah, I've got them coming on at some point soon. Watch this space. But yeah, other than that, not a whole lot.
And Robin says it's okay.
Oh, right, okay. So going to do a wee collaboration with Robin. I think we've still to work out the details, whether we're live or whether it's pre-recorded and all that kind of a lovely stuff. But yeah, look out for that. That'll be good.
Cool. So yeah, I've got the spotlight on Saturday with Cheryl from Oneness Emporium. Really looking forward to it. The decks are arriving tomorrow.
Right.
So I think we've either got, I think it's around 6 new decks to show. I think that there might be more, but there was Cheryl was hoping some would come in time for the delivery to go out today, so that I'd get them in time. But so yeah, so that's exciting. That's on Saturday, usual couple of catching cards time at 7 p.m. I've still got a load of decks from what is it, Destiny to show. So yeah, I'm gonna be busy over the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, what? 8 decks and 1 boom.
What's a boom?
I think I know what it is. It might be some amazing decks. Yeah, one of them, Chris, is going to be Rachel Pollock's. I've seen that you've done a video of that as well.
I was actually going to ask, but I was going to wait until after we'd stopped being live because I wasn't sure if you wanted me to spoiler, but I've got decks that I want to ask you about if they're going to be on it. Because I've gotten a few new decks from Cheryl lately.
Have you?
So yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, I have. There's actually I've filmed another side by side because apparently side by sides are just my new favourite thing. That's it's scheduled to go public. I think it's on Saturday at some point. So, but yeah, it's been a good week for tarot decks. Let me tell you.
Yeah, it has. It has, and there's been some amazing ones released this year. So, righto. Well, thanks everybody. It's been lovely to hang out and geek out on my first tarot deck. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you for keeping me company.
You're welcome. And we'll see everybody on the 6th for Shadowlands Tarot.
Bye, everyone.
See you soon. Bye.